Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, a bit of a late night video going on about how kind of bad the whole Nintendo debacle is going on right now, where it actually kind of seems like we're actually not going to have any good Nintendo news coming out, potentially no brand new PlayStation consoles, new Nintendo consoles coming out in the near future, and as well, it did kind of seem like there was an overall big slowdown coming from all of these consoles, the Switch included. So we have a lot of little various things to go talk about, some earning reports to go bring up, especially over here from Bloomberg, and just a little bit of a late night video as we're all kind of sitting here relaxing and chilling. So if you guys are going to have a nice little lovely night, and if you guys do pass out to this video, I appreciate you all so much for always watching, and make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. We have the Amazon links down below for other signups. We have the Twitter and Twitch streams too as well. We have the Weebles and Target links if you guys want to go check those on out. And let's go talk about some Nintendo news. So as I mentioned, Nintendo's been having a little bit of a weird kind of past few weeks, mainly because their earnings were also not so good. As you guys know, right now we're kind of in earnings season, where a lot of big companies will have a chance to bring up their information, bring up stock numbers, bring up future goals, bring up like how much money they've made, so people investing in the stock, in their company, and all their pretty much future goals know, should I spend more money? Should I go and sell? Do we have good outlooks for the next 2 or 3 years? How is winter going to be doing? How are the next games coming out going to be doing? And all these are public companies, so it does add to a lot more interest when it comes to what's going on. And gaming as a whole is kind of in a big, weird lull, because it does seem like it's actually going down as of right now. So we actually do have some articles over here with Nintendo's earnings, which actually have had big misses, echoing Sony's gaming woes. So both software and hardware sales actually did go in decline right now for the Nintendo and ultimately the Nintendo Switch. Production bottlenecks also did go and affect this company's Switch deliveries, and as well as I mentioned, we've been hearing a lot less news on the next upcoming potential Switch Pro, or whatever you guys want to call it, Super Switch, etc. So Nintendo Co. reported worse than expected first quarter earnings on Wednesday, as a weaker yen failed to offset declining hardware and software sales. So number one, I do think the yen itself has also been kind of going down. I think the USD has still been going strong, which I think is kind of nice for our general United States viewers. Obviously, the stronger their currency just means the better overall on the economy, cheaper things for import outputs, and just it's nice. Like, you don't want to have your currency falling. I think we're still actually doing very well against the euro, doing really well against, like, the yen, Chinese yuan, all that stuff, which is nice. Like, I mean, for your American, there are some folks who watch my videos in different regions. You guys can comment down below if you guys are. But I know for us, we have a lot of American-based viewers. But as well, we did not go and see as many sales for brand new hardware and software sales. Now, in my mind, I think that still makes sense. We haven't really seen too many brand new Switch games or anything super exciting. We are still watching for Splatoon 3. We're also still watching, too, as well for new Pokemon, which I think did also have their own conference as of like today, which looks pretty good. I'll probably be streaming that up on Twitch, fault to Twitch. And as well, I mean, who's going to be buying a Switch? It's been out for like 7 years. So the Kyoto-based company reported operating profit of 100 billion yen, around $763 million, and sales of 300 billion yen in the 3 months of the end of June, missing average analyst estimates of 115 billion yen and 332 billion yen too. So it's pretty much around, you guys can see me around like a 40-ish billion yen issue, which is still a pretty decent amount in the multi-million-dollar range. Now, typically a lot of these results are pretty hardcore focused, and typically a lot of stocks do drop at least somewhat substantially if these numbers are not going so well. So the company did go and say that there was manufacturing bottlenecks affecting Switch sales, and its current production is behind schedule, which is also never nice to see because we are still seeing these little baby bottlenecks when it comes to the just supply chain issues, internal chip issues, and all of that. Which also may once again explain why the Switch Pro or Super Switch, or do you guys want to go call it, might also be more delayed, because if they're still having issues now with this old current chipset for the Switch, it'd probably make sense that it'd probably even have even more issues with any future chipsets too as well. It does, though, all on a positive twist, expect to catch up on production from later on this summer. The software sales also did go in decline to 41.4 million from 45.3 million in the same period a year ago, while Switch units fell to 3.43 million units from 4.45 million too as well. So we're just seeing this the double whammy. Although once again, the summer is usually more chill, and the summer is typically more of a laid-back time for games. There's not as many releases, not as many people gaming, people are outside for the summer, going on vacations, trips, or whatever it may be. The results echoed those of fellow console maker Sony Group 2 as well, which cut its full PlayStation division profit outlook by 16%, which we did go and touch on a little bit, where they did want to sell a lot more consoles, although with no pretty much big major summer releases from Sony. We're still waiting for Ragnarok and Last of Us. As of right now, they're expecting not so much good news. So both Nintendo and PlayStation have been in the same exact big boat, where it just doesn't seem like they're holding on too long, and it kind of seems like gaming as a whole has been going pretty much downwards. Which also makes sense, though, because typically a lot more gaming sales are more in this fourth quarter. So think, Black Friday, think the holiday releases, think the Call of Duties around the September-October ranges, God of War Ragnaroks, all that type of stuff. We'll probably have a lot of Switch games too, the Pokemons, Splatoons and all that later on throughout this year. So Nintendo, whose flagship Switch console can be used both at home and on the move, appears to have also suffered from the loss of stay-at-home demand from the COVID-19, which Sony blamed for the reduced playing time on the platform as well, which would make sense. The weak yen made a bigger contribution for Nintendo, whose costs are largely denominated in its home currency too as well. So the more yen you have to spend to make a Switch or make a game or paying out to employees, and also if it's all denominated by the United States dollar, basically means like if the USD is still $1, so you have to spend $50 to make the Switch, and if the yen went from $50 worth to, let's say, 60, you still have to technically pay more as time goes on. So US gamers actually did go and spend 13% less on video games in the second quarter of this year compared to 2021. As Group NPD said, the impact was more strongly felt by Sony, which reported that playtime across the PlayStation products was down 15% in the period. Switch software sales are expected to accelerate towards the year's end with holiday season releases of new entries in the blockbuster Pokemon and Splatoon franchises, as I mentioned. Those will also be pretty much big comparison to as well when it comes to the PlayStation, as I mentioned, for God of War and Last of Us, and maybe some more PlayStation Premium and all that stuff too as well. So it just kind of seems like everything is kind of going down across the board, which is expected. We're having some recession woes, we're having some big production issues, and no major big games. For a 5.5-year-old system, the Switch is still performing remarkably well, said industry analyst Serkan Toto of Catan Games, which I'd agree to as well. I mean, we still haven't had a Switch Pro. We've seen the Switch OLED, which is, I'm sure you guys can agree, not the same. And as well, we're also competing against the Xbox Series XS and PlayStation 5. Nintendo's software pipeline for this calendar year is chock full of blockbusters like Splatoon 3, and I'm not worried about Nintendo, at least for the rest of the year. However, though, as I mentioned, there has not been any big Switch news going on for the Switch Pro. Hardware remains a pain point for the company, as prolonged component shortages and this year's elevated material cost are likely to put pressure on its outlook. Nintendo stuck to its forecast to sell 21 million units of the handheld hybrid console, down from actually 23 from the last year. So it does kind of seem like both the PlayStation 5 and the Switch are still feeling some heat, which is not the best news to go and see. We'd rather them be doing well and blossoming, but throughout the past 2 years, it's going to be very hard to go and compete against it in the future, mainly because there were so many people at home. Production costs were relatively still low, as they've been going back up even more. And as well, at some point for the Switch, you just need to make the Switch Pro so people can actually enjoy it. And as well, we are still waiting for a lot more general next games too as well, such as these big blockbuster hits, because the next 4 or 5 months does seem a little bit more on the barren side when it does come to brand new games. So I want to hear your thoughts and comments down below, because it does seem like a lot of these consoles are still having struggles. And as well, I appreciate you guys all so much for watching for this nice little late night video. Make sure you guys are subscribed with the notifications on as well for the brand new PlayStation 5 giveaway. Amazon links down below. We have the Twitter and Twitch stream as well. We have the how links for the Samsung signups. We also have the how links for the Target PlayStation 5s. You guys want to check and see. We've been seeing a very large influx of them. And as well, just give me your thoughts and comments down below. And I appreciate you guys all so much for watching. Stop by the Twitch if you guys are bored. I'll see you guys up on the next one tomorrow.